Hi everybody and welcome back to Miss Angler's biology class. I am Miss Angler. In today's video, we're going to do a past paper question on the human reproductive system. Specifically, we're focusing in on pregnancy and implantation. I did choose this particular question because of the newer testing style that examiners are going for now, which is the application style. I thought it would be great to kind of branch out more into these questions. I did label this one a hard in terms of its difficulty. For some of you, you might find this a little bit easier, but if you don't know your content very well, applying it is ultimately what makes this a more challenging question. And you'll see as we progress through the questions, they get a little more challenging as we go. If you'd like to pause the video, do so now so you can attempt the questions before we do them together. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed with your notifications posted on. Also, if you're looking for a little extra help, don't forget I have the cheat sheet study guide, which is completely filled with all the tips that you need to get your 80% in your final life sciences exam. It covers every single topic as well as a walkthrough through some of the most interesting questions I've seen and also questions that we see year after year that you can practice and get perfect for your exams. So let's dive into our first question, and I always say the same to all my matrics is familiarize yourself with the diagram extensively first and then answer the questions. Don't even read the questions first. So let's get into the diagram. So it says there's a diagram of the female reproductive system. It's showing development of a zygote to a fetus, and as we actually go on to the labels on the diagram, I want to again say that I suggest with application questions you actually break down the picture or the paragraph quite a bit before you even read the questions, because often that is the skill that you need before actually doing anything. So let's just make sure we're very familiar with what everything is pointing at. And so I'm going to go through all the letters. A is going to be our endometrium, right? I think that we can see that that is our endometrium layer. Then we've got B. B is all the way on the other side over here with C. Now, I don't want to get B and C confused with one another. B would be the placenta. How do I know that? Because it is attached to the umbilical cord over here that is going into the fetus. But then what is C sitting into, or what is C? It's pointing to these smaller structures down here. For now, I'm going to call those the chorionic villi, which again, a lot of us don't study this level of detail, which is why I chose this question, because you do need to know a lot of detail for application questions. And then when we've got G, F, E, and D, we have progressive stages of development. G is obviously the fallopian tube, but then F, E, and D are referring to the various stages. So what we have here is, if we start from D, that's the blastocyst, which remember is the most developed. Then we have shortly before that probably the morula. And then before that we have our zygote, right? Now, we might need to change one of our labels just now, because sometimes what they do in application questions is they give you more details that might make you rethink one of your labels. So we'll come back to those shortly, and let's move into the questions now. So it says for number 1, provide the labels for process D, which now means that we have to go back to what we labeled here, because remember, D is actually not pointing to a structure, it is pointing to a process. So that process is going to be implantation. And that's exactly what I meant by you might have to go back and change what you saw, but that's okay because the blastocyst is still relevant. And then for structure F, which is the next thing that we need to provide, we're going to go back and look at what structure are we looking at. Now, in my mind, this structure E and D are the same thing. They're both the blastocyst, which means that my labels need to move back slightly, and this solid ball of cells would make the label the morula. If we move on to our next question, it says name 2 functions of G, and that's going to be the fallopian tube. So I would keep that as something like the site of fertilization. That's the easiest one to do. And then I would also do something like the channel for the ovum. In other words, the channel to direct the ovum down into the uterus. So I would say / ovum or zygote, because those are 2 different functions. Try to keep them as different as possible when you do give a function, everyone. For now, questions and answers, pretty straightforward, but now we're going to get to a little bit more of the challenging ones. The next one says, explain how the ovarian hormones cause structure A to thicken. So remember, your 2 ovarian hormones are what? It's going to be estrogen and progesterone. Right? Now, how do they cause structure A to thicken? So they want them together. You don't need to mention them separately. But what I would do is I would mention them in the answer. I would say estrogen and progesterone cause the endometrium to become thicker. And we want to say they are more glandular and vascular. In other words, they have more glands and they have more blood vessels, and that ultimately is what makes them thick. It is only for 2 marks, so we're not going into a lot of detail on that one. However, our next question is a describe question. It says, describe 3 functions of structure B. So if we have correctly identified structure B as the placenta, you now need to think of 3 that you are going to describe. Look at the mark allocation, everyone. Let it guide you. Because it's out of 6, it means you have to give 3 points. And of those 3 points, you are going to need to elaborate on them. In other words, give more than just stating 1-word answers. The first one that I'm going to put up here is going to be that the placenta is a microfilter. Now, that would get us 1 tick, everyone. So now we need to give a little bit more than that. The microfilter for what? And that's going to be against microorganisms, or you could be a little bit more general and say infections. That's our first function. Our second function is going to go into our nutrients, or providing nutrients, or a nutrient exchange. And that is where you can say that it is a surface area to exchange nutrients between mother and fetus blood, because remember, their bloods don't mix, they are kept separate, and that's a really important thing to just keep in your mind when you are doing this answer. Our third and final function is going to be removal of waste, and you can elaborate a bit further there in speaking about the fetus waste from respiration or cellular respiration is removed. And that would be things like, of course, carbon dioxide. If you wanted to, you could also mention things like removing nitrogenous wastes, aka things like urea. And so you really need to be well versed on what the placenta does. Now, for the very last question, I'm going to just remove my answers alongside here so that I can write this down. And this last question is ultimately what led me to select this to being a more advanced application question. So currently the last 2 questions is really what amp up the difficulty here. But for number 5, it says, if too few of structure C forms, discuss 2 ways this would negatively affect the growth of the fetus. So here we go. Let's deal with the first issue. The first issue is people don't know what structure C is. And that is why this is now turned into an application question, because not only do you need basic knowledge, you need detailed knowledge, and that's where we come in on the chorionic villi. And unfortunately, what I find with many matrics is they don't study enough detail. And that's ultimately what lets them down on these more complex questions. So C are chorionic villi. Chorionic villi are made up of blood vessels, and they are there for exchanging nutrients. So they're an exchange, and they're also there to attach the placenta to the wall of the uterus. So I've jotted these ideas down so that we can actually answer the question, because this is why it starts to become an application question. Now, before we start answering it, the next thing I want to bring your attention to is it says discuss 2 ways for 4 marks, which hopefully means that everyone understands that you're going to have to say one thing for 2 marks and then another thing for the second 2 marks. But, and this is the important part, do you see it says here negatively? That means that your answer needs to be in the negative. So instead of telling me what chorionic villi do, you need to tell me what are they not doing. Okay, that's really important, and it's a nuance. It's a skill, a very specific skill that a lot of matrics struggle to develop, is answering in the negative when it's required. So looking at my list of what chorionic villi do, the fact that chorionic villi are blood vessels, and I'm going to group these 2 together, therefore they are there for exchanging nutrients, right? What we're going to say is based off of the exchange surface being reduced, because remember, they didn't form as many, right? Therefore, less nutrients / you could talk about more wastes will enter fetus, reducing growth. Now, if you go the waste route, then you're going to say will prevent growth and will build up and will become toxic. And so when we're answering in the negative, you are not saying that normally the villi are there to provide an exchange surface for nutrients and for wastes, therefore removing them is important. That's the positive answer. The negative answer is saying that if there aren't enough chorionic villi, the exchange surface will be reduced, so you're staying in the negative. Therefore, there will be less nutrients. If we stay with the nutrient part, less nutrients will enter the fetus, therefore less growth will occur. Those are all negative things. When you're talking about less, it's a negative thing. Okay? What I don't want you to do is write the answer and then at the very end go, but these things won't happen. That's not a negative answer, matrix. So let's keep that in mind. Let's do the second point. As I said to you here, we have an attachment for the placenta, which is another issue, right? So again, don't tell me that the chorionic villi form the placenta. That's the positive answer. You need to say that the placenta will not form and attach correctly. Remember, this is only going to get you 1 mark. Therefore, the fetus may miscarry / die as the placenta falls away. You could also elaborate a bit more on that. The placenta won't be exchanging any nutrients or filtering any diseases as well, but I wouldn't go that far. It's not necessary. So as you can see here, once again, we went from the positive answer and we only wanted in the negative. That is why I feel like this question is perfect as an example of application and really showing the depth of your knowledge. Now that's it for our lesson today, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video. And as you know, examiners change, I'm going to start putting up a set of new videos about application, how to answer these application questions, because I think a lot of us are struggling now when we get more advanced questions, especially if that's going to be the new norm for our exams, is to have a lot more application. I'm here to support you and show you exactly what you need to do so that even though the examiners change and the questions get harder, I'll be here making sure you know exactly what to do. And I'll see you all again soon. Bye.